Welcome back, everyone. It is time for the final matchup on the mainstream today for Nationals Day 1. This is going to be the matchup between the Valpo Beacon and the WCU State, Western Colorado University.
Slate. Yeah. That's their Slate squad.
Slate.
It's their Slate squad.
Okay. It's Slate, not
it's
State.
all Look, you've had a long day, Joker. I understand. I understand entirely.
I mean, hey, but I'm back. It's me, Joker's Ransom, with Sov Danum this time. And Sov, I'm excited to see this matchup. We've got the two teams that ended first and second in the Navigators division. So this should be an incredible matchup, to say the least.
Oh yeah, this is the rematch. This is the grudge match. The spring split went the way of the Valpo Beacon first time, but it's hard. Like, the Slater out for revenge. Western Colorado is here for more. We were kind of discussing this in the prior, but they're a good team. Their if you looked at their records, you'd be like, "What are you talking about? They got second place." But they are clearly a good team. They know how to play, and I'm sure they carried that learning the strats, the botted reviews. They've probably put in that downtime between them.
Yeah, as we're going to take a look here at the Valpo Beacon, as we've got a Broth and Lil Flaps, Scoot, Fruity Bops, Night Fury, Churro, and Churro rounding that off. No seniors to speak of at the moment here.
Very fresh squad. This means you'll see this for a while, and considering they went the spring split undefeated, this is a good team to lobby behind. They're going to be hanging around for a while. So if you are a Valpo Beacon fan, you're in a great place to be, because you'll see these names for a pretty long while. But on the other side, for Western Colorado, we've got Disagree, Beast Mode, Jay Rizzle, Mr. Mango, MNW, and Boo. A little bit more of a rounded squad, some older, but still a pretty fresh squad, all things considered here.
And a bunch of English majors there, and interesting. And a musical education teacher, a music education person, which I do like a music education.
Hey, shout out to that. Yeah,
music education. Hey, need more music teachers in the world, and more teachers in general. So, but here are the predictions, as we're gonna go with an even split here for today. As I've picked Valpo, and Sov has picked WCU Slate.
It's hard for me not to pick the underdog, the team who came so close and took second. They're hungry, they want more. And I know you always pick winners. I know you want to pick, who's not going to pick the undefeated team. There's no wrong choice here, but it is going to be wrong at the end of it. So we'll see what happens when they get there. And where are we going for the first map, Joker? Let's talk about that, because we got to open this up, right?
Yeah, well, we definitely do. And we're not going to Nepal, because that was banned outright. But as we're going to be starting out here again on Lijiang Tower. And like I said before, the previous series, Lijiang Tower is dominated by a certain hero, and that certain hero is Symmetra.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the standby for most of this. You kind of have to be running, especially for that. And hey, if you were hanging with me over on the B stream for the most of this, I'm kind of excited to see this. I've been seeing Busan all day, so I would love to see some sim strats paired up with that nice brawl, that Reinhardt Diva comp that we've seen a lot of. But I'm excited to see this. I know you guys have seen this all day, but I'm excited to see some sim get out there while she's still, dare I say, relevant in the Overwatch metas.
I'd say relevant indeed, because from what we've seen of Overwatch 2, not very good hero. Let's hope we see some more conventional compositions coming in from both of these two squads. We did see some Orisa Diva coming out from Coe College. It did work out well for them on Lijiang Tower, but didn't go well the rest of the series. But hey,
I mean, Joker, it's the anti-poke comp. Orisa Diva's anti-poke. It does work, but it requires so much, it requires so much more teamwork and so many things to go well. But here, we're navigators, right? Mm-hmm. This is probably just going to be some Ryans rushing at each other and smashing each other, right? That's what I came here to see, at least.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I love to see, indeed. Just two Ryans just swinging their hammers, having no care in the world of putting up their shields. But right now we're seeing a throwback. We're seeing pulled pork currently. There still is 15 seconds to change it, but a pulled pork composition, not something thought I would see coming out from WCU Slate, which
Yeah.
pulled pork is that Roadhog Orisa composition.
Not on Control Center here. Like, this is the home of Reinhardt, and this Cassidy May comp is like basically what I would expect it, but they want to run this. They are ready to throw some circa 3 years ago bunker comps here.
Yeah, that's really interesting to see. Let's see how it works out as Disagree is super low. They're going to be taken down for Churoro early on in this fight, and well, that's going to be a major sort of damage gone for WCU here. They're going to have to turn it around eventually, but it's not looking good for them currently as Little Flaps is going to come in, take out Boo. Going to pay for it with their life, but Valpo Beacon are going to be able to get the first capture percentage of the evening here, so as they're going to stabilize on the point for the time being.
Yeah, you can't really press on. You're still short a couple heroes. You can kind of start to contest and move forward, but now that we've got the pressure on, let's see what they do, Joker.
Well, they're going to be taken away by that Maywell. A nice Maywell coming in from Scoot. Little Flaps is going to go down yet again, as Jay Rizzle is going to be the person to try to take them out of this fight. As now they're going to come back. They've got the sound barrier on the board. They got to change this back. The attack visor is going to find two. That's going to be a huge play coming in from WCU Slate to get back into this fight and get the capture percentage into their favor.
Great counter versus that blue. That was in a world where the rest of your team needs to get basically kind of bailed out there. That was a great visor to come on top. And Valco Beacon, they will have two, Self-Destruct and High Noon. It's going to be the old look both ways before you cross the street here, and we'll see where they go.
Well, the Self-Destruct is going to start things off. Going to get rid of the Immortality Field and a nice stun. And a fan of the hammer from a Broth there is going to take out Boo, as Little Flap's going to go wild with this hammer, finding two picks of their own. And, well, Valpo going to come back strong right as they do get equipped for a for a second.
I'm not sure I'm sold on this Orisa Hog right now. Like, the sustain you're getting isn't really worth it, and now you're seeing supports change. Beast Mode going to swap over. Eyeing Mercy now on Moira. Like, I just don't... I'm not sold on this right now. You kind of need to play their game at this, but you are 3 ultimates down, and this is going to be a tough time to try to make these changes and succeed here.
Yeah, especially with walking into the absorbent amount of ultimates Valpo has right now.
Yeah.
The Deadeye is going to push them away, but they're going to be pushing them into the oncoming swings of Little Flaps there. But there still has not been any picks here, so they're still looking to get something doing. It's anyone's point right now as Boo drops the Death Blossom. It is countered out by the Earth Shatter of Little Flaps as the Blizzard gets dropped on the board. And this should be Valpo winning this fight out. Beast Mode on the Moira, trying to keep everyone up and healthy, trying to get to this Coalescence. But Churoro finding two picks in that fight as Valpo continue to hold on strong. It's down to 97. It's up to 99%. It's on the overtime. Can they do something? A Broth takes out Boo, and can anyone even touch? They do. They get the Baptiste there. The attack visor gonna be used, trying to turn it back. They've gotten Scoot out of this fight. Can something change? It's 2 picks into the favor of WCU, but it's still there's people from Valpo left on point. They need more picks, and they need it quickly. Beast Mode with 2. The Lucio. Oh my goodness. They might have been able to flip it at the 11th hour here. Sovdanum. They done it.
Beast Mode activated indeed, Joker. He came to life there, and that's kind of all you really need. But it's just one fight, and there's what, 3 ultimates for Valpo Beacon, so you're fine with that, I think, if you're them. Like, Shatter Noon's going to be huge here if you can make it work. Worst case, you put it through the amplification matrix. I think if you're Valpo, you're not worried, but I think you need to be aggressive. You need to play into this, and they will do just that.
Ooh, the Shatter connects to 4, but they need to get a follow-up from it. They get Beast Mode out of this fight, as well with the Deadeye pick coming into J-Riz. This should be enough, but WM are still alive, trying to take some people out of this fight. They need to get rid of this soldier, and they do indeed. It does look like it's going to go back into the favor of Valpo for the time being. And any one touch here is the real question now. They've got the Baptiste. They're going to get booped away as Valpo take round 1.
I mean, it was a great effort made from WCU. They looked good once they kind of got themselves in that position where it's like of comfort almost. These actually kind of late picks almost look better for them. I might even carry this over if I was WCU Slate. You've kind of found some more value on a lot of these things. And like I said, like, I'm not sold on this Orisa. I'm not quite sure what the thought is. Maybe we're just not comfortable on the Reinhardt. Maybe we don't think we can beat them. But I'm not sure why we're running the Orisa, not the Reinhardt. Like, we should just be taking the mirror. We don't really benefit by playing the Orisa.
Well, here comes the Orisa Diva composition coming in from WCU. This was not the map that the side of Co-College ran. Orisa Diva. They ran Orisa Reinhardt, but we'll see how it works out for them here as both teams opting for the Symmetra. Whoever can get that microwave up and running is going to be the one who finds the most value. But Little Flaps has already taken down MWM. If it can continue, Boo is super low. They need to be picked off if Valpo have any chance of stabilizing here. As they do, they take them out. And now it's just a Broth running rampant with the Symmetra beam, just mowing down opponents.
That was my concern, was that this was going to get going, but they do have the staying power, Joker. They're going to try and draw this out. They'll commit that barrier, but I don't think they really needed to. It was kind of done there. That was my concern, is that you're just going to be able to keep placing these shields down, and the Symmetra is just going to keep being able to stay charged off of it. So in a way, Broth has kind of this advantage from the sim fight. They committed that wall in a little early, so at least Boo will have that going into it. There's at least that ultimate for Slate. Meanwhile, there's a Blizzard coming online too for Valpo Beacon, so if you can time that wall properly, you can sustain this, well, bad weather, quite honestly.
Yeah, and I feel I do. I won't talk about what I feel like, as we're going to start off with the wall and the Blizzard out, but it's just going to be all blue in the kill feed here. So as they do not be able to mitigate the damage coming out from with that photon barrier. And what I was going to say was Symmetra being the shield eater that it is easier to get up those that photon barrier ultimate, which so it's not a very much of a loss in the long run.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there, and they will just turn around and give it up. 3 ultimates for UC, WCU Slate. They're going to commit one right away, and let's see if they can make it work. I mean, can they even enter the doors here?
Well, they're trying to. There's an absorbent amount of damage, but a massive shatter comes through as Fruity Bob finds 2
huge.
With that self-destruct coming in strong as the Remac self-destruct does come through, but not going to find anything with it as finally we're seeing Spongy Bob swap over to the Reinhardt.
Yeah, I think we've just kind of realized the Orisa's not going to cut it. I'm not sure what the play was there. MWM still also holding on his visor, going to try to make something work, but there's nothing for it. It's just going to get walled off. It's so hard to get value with this soldier right now.
Yeah, it definitely is, as both immortality fields are gone. Photon barrier is now on the board, and Chiroro is just sending Jay Rizzle for a nice little trip off the side of the map. It's overtime, and it's all Valpo Beacon right now. So Venom, as this is going to be Valpo's map, taking it 2-0 and going up 1-0 in the series.
It was just, I hate to say it like this, but it was a little bit of a mismatch, Joker. It just was kind of, they were playing 2 different games in some ways. We saw Valpo just playing this brawl comp. They were playing it so well. It was effective. The team was communicating. Everything looked great. You can even see it. Little Flaps just trying to wait and just figure out the right timing for that. Great Shatter Bomb here. Like they were just playing a different game here. Meanwhile, WCU Slate, it has to just be comfort picks, right? That's the only thing I can think of as to why you would try to force this Orisa Diva kind of anti-poke, anti-dive comp versus Brawl. I just can't see a reason other than just this is what we think we are best at, therefore we are going to do it. And if that's the case, sure, I see nothing wrong with that. It's a little bit of an odd choice, and flexibility is going to be a concern down the line. But I think that based on that showing alone, you need to focus now your map choices around that. You need to pick where you're going to be able to run these kinds of stable comps and where you can force dive to play into anti-dive. That's the only way you're really going to succeed if you're if WCU Slate.
Yeah, well, and that was the biggest problem for Co. They thought they were picking maps that were benefiting their map or their composition, but in the end, when a team is running a Reinhardt into a stable composition with a Lucio, you can just run rampant. They can't get away because, well, they don't have the speed.
Yeah, there's just no disengage. Like if they can just close in on you, it's not quite like the hyper rush, kind of like with a sim you might run on what you might consider, but just having that Lucio alone is enough support and enough advantage to move. And then not to mention your team's just putting out damage a little bit faster too. The hog kind of ends up eventually, that we started with, kind of ends up just soaking up damage and being a sponge. So with all that in mind, you're just going to have to kind of find a way to force them off of this brawl comp, because they've shown they can beat you in it. And they've shown that if you aren't willing to play it, they're going to win. So depending on where we go for this hybrid map, because that is where we're going next, is hybrid. Depending on where we go, Joker, where do you think we should go? Because I can't even think of where would be the best place we could force this dive is kind of a strange thought to me. I've never had to consider what don't I want to play. I've always considered what do I want to play.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Hollywood, but Valpo made the smart decision here. They've taken away Hollywood.
Yeah.
Which I was saying earlier. Hollywood, it really is a good map for Orisa-based compositions.
Yeah.
So going into a different hybrid map without that, probably Blizzard World is your next best bet. With it being with the high ground so prevalent on point two. And maybe even
Okay, that's not a bad choice. It looks like Numbani was the pick. And I don't disagree to that. You can kind of, there's a lot of important high ground on the capture point. So maybe the goal is to try to just control the capture point segment. If you fall into streets phase, you can force them up onto the high ground. You can kind of take all that high ground that is on the streets phase as long as you can stop it there. But once you get towards point C is where you look concerned, because you can still brawl in this. You can still brawl for most of Nimbani. You kind of have to force a dive or something on the capture point segment. But if you can just play to not get to that point, that's a pretty decent success plan.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. It'll be interesting to see how both of these two teams take it. I always love to run Winston on this first point just because I'm a Winston player. It's the most fun main tank in Overwatch 1 as
I feel like ball players might have a word with you, but I don't know about that. But I agree. Also, as a Winston player too, like I would much rather be playing Winston. And given that the high ground is so important to capture and maintain, there's so much mobility you need. I could see that being a thing, but I would also be a little scared. If you've been watching the footage, the 9-0 team probably has a dive in their back pocket. So you've probably got to be aware of that. So I think if you're going to commit to these comps, like whatever your plan is, if you're Slate, you've got to commit fully to it and not waffle on any sort of picks, or just be firm in what you want to make changes to. And that'll hopefully lead to a little bit more success.
Yeah, let's hopefully we'll see. We are swapping sides here, so Valpo is going to be attacking first, which is not what you normally see. Normally, you will be the one if you're usually attacking or defending. If you have the choice, you're going to usually choose defense. I'm all for both of them, but Usually defending is the more sound option because you can
Yeah.
set your win condition if you have a good defense.
Yeah, knowing the win condition goes a long distance in your own morale too, not to mention that. But again, if you think you can win before you even get to, point A, point B, point C, I think that's something else. We also worth noting MWM, who was playing soldier on the last map, is going to go over to tank, and Disagree, who was playing off tank there, is going to be going to DPS. And sure, I'm pretty sure that this was a team of flexes if on WCU. Yeah, like most of this team is just listed as flex, so they're just like, that's fine. They're probably going to make these changes based on like who's having a good day, who's not, who's available. It's we're navigators. Everything's kind of up in the air, and it's all kind of a bit of everything anyway. So if you feel comfortable, like if the whole team feels comfortable on pretty much everything, who am I to judge? I kind of view this and say, I would rather have a little more consistency in my players to say like, okay, my tank players, I want them to just focus on one thing. I don't want to have to worry about, can my tank player also play Tracer? I don't want my Orisa player to also have to worry about playing Mercy. That kind of a deal. Like that seems to me like a more better span. But I mean, WCU made it to second in the spring split, so who am I to judge?
Yeah, I mean, hey, they've came back to back second in fall 2021 as well. I mean, they've got to know what they're doing here. As well,
oh yeah,
we're still seeing some more Roadhog, which
sure,
hey,
okay, but I think the interesting part of that is it's defensive Roadhog, so we're foregoing Diva, which is kind of odd to see. Usually you want the Diva. Diva does so much for you. Disagree picking up that Sim. I mean, I'm a Sim player. I would play it here too. I like it for just the ability to quick back, but this comp is interesting. It does a lot of things. It's high sustain. There's a bunch of damage, but it's also kind of like Hanzo's not going to be playing in. You kind of don't need to pay attention to the Hog, so you can put more resources elsewhere. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Valpo realizes what's in front of them here.
Yeah, let's see how this works out. They're going for the small little rotation as MWM is going to already start things off as taking out Chiraro early on in this fight. No more speed boost. This is a nice hook that comes through. MWM is swapping over to the tank role, finding 2 picks early on in this fight as they're going to just have to reset his Valpo.
And, we used to joke about Hog just being a fat DPS, but MWM really making it look like a real deal here. The changes will come in. They realize there's no hit scan to deal with it, so they are going to bring in that far end. Yeah, I agree. The Zarya, a little interesting of a pick. I might have kept the Diva just because eating pretty much anything is good, but I think that given how many beams and non-bullets are in your face, that makes sense to me. A little bit of a hybrid rush comp, I think it can work, but it's going to take a little bit more now that they aren't as deep into the pools here of ultimates. Ooh,
as that is going to be big. Little Flaps is down out of this fight. Boo on the Hanzo now, not to be outdone by MWM. Looking to get multiple picks in this fight, looking for another one here as they are going to get picked off by Fruity Bops. They're going to get res off immediately, but and they do have this Dragon Strike online, which
Valk
is going to be cute.
Oh, they're gonna wait. We committed Valk 2 into a basically done fight, I guess. That's sure. We lost Boo again, but yeah, I don't know. That might have been early, Joker.
Yeah, and Spongy Bob using Shatter as well, not finding anything to do with it. As the Shatter comes out in response, this is a massive one from Little Flaps, as the rest of Valpo are going to collapse on the fallen enemies and will take the point in response.
All right, so Valpo is still playing Brawl, essentially. You do have a Pharah in the sky, but there's no support, so the question is, what do you have to deal with that? Because all you have right now is Baptiste, who's really kind of just getting pushed out. There's no reason for the Pharah to push in, so they can just range from afar. This is a tough spot for WCU to be in, because they don't really have an answer, and you don't necessarily want to give up these ultimates, so this might be if they can get value to these ultimates, they can stall the fight and then make any changes they need to, and I hope they do, because there's 3, almost 4 for the side of Valpo, and if they don't get any value, they're just gonna keep this rolling.
Yeah, they are. They are indeed. And now we're gonna see, well, how this is gonna go off. The whole hog has been gone, as well as the dragon strike, but no picks have come off. Just as I say that, Little Flaps is gonna be hooked and taken care of immediately. And well, that's gonna be the rest of Valpo gonna have to be back up because all these picks coming in from WCU.
Yeah, credit to MWM. Has been getting value with this hog, has been isolating, has been finding these moments and mistakes and punishing them effectively. So yeah, this was a great call for this hog player. And considering you don't have to put that many resources for that value, that's a great pick. But it is an early Lamp Joker. That may punish them.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Scoot's going to be popping the Tac Visor, finding 3 into the Graviton Surge from Fruity Bops there. And they as well. That's just so much damage coming out from Valpo. And they still have 3 ultimates to go.
I mean, they used that Graviton to build up the last of what they needed, so Shatter Barrage could be good if you can hit some success, but the changes coming in for WCU Slate make a big counter to this. Sombra is going to be kind of rough. If you maybe you can hack the back line a little bit, they'll just give up B there. That makes sense. You're going to hold this corner instead. And the Cassidy, yeah, now there's finally an answer to Aberoth, and who's just going to be looking for this. I think these were the changes that come in, and with 4 minutes on the clock, they have to put their foot down somewhere, Joker.
They're going to have to, and well, MWM is going to take out Aberoth right before they can even use that barrage. You're going to need to find some value as they're going to be a flanking hog. MWM in the back line is still alive for the time being, too. They don't pay for it with their life.
No reason not to. I mean, fight's still going to go, but they didn't commit anything, but that Shatter is in.
Yeah, the Shatter gonna
and the success is there.
Yeah, Little Flap's gonna lay 3 people on the board, and then Scoot's gonna random up as Valpo continue to push forward as they are gonna look to get J-Riz out of this fight late on as well. That's gonna be a huge pick.
It is, and there will be the contest eventually, but is it going to be, are they even going to make it in time? Is there going to be anybody to touch it? Aberoth is just going to wait for this. They'll launch that barrage eventually.
Yeah, and there comes the barrage from over the top looking to get Disagree. They do.
Damage is done.
As that is going to be incredibly hard for anything to happen as Scoot pops the Tac Visor again, finds 3 with it as Aberoth takes out MWM. Wow. Scoot with 4 in that fight as Valpo would take a blistering pace on Numbani there.
I mean, great rotations of ultimates out of Valpo, great decisions, great adaptions. It looked a little touch and go for a minute there on that first segment, but just once they got themselves in the rhythm, they looked really good. Man, it's just so tough because if you're WCU, that's pretty... It's pretty painful to think about. It's your map pick. They just ran through for what, 245 basically. How do you manage that? And like MMW is putting up their best effort. Boo is looking really good. It's just the moments where Valpo looks like puts their things together, puts these ultimates together, and puts their teamwork together. They look great. If they can find a way to keep creating these issues, creating these moments where like MWM, could create and capitalize on that chaos. They looked good, but they're going to opt into this dive, and I think that's sure. I think they can do it. I think they can make this work if they can do this, because it's basically going to be a brawl on the other side. There's Soldier, Scoot, there's Soldier, but like Scoot has looked incredible on that. Scoot has gotten so much value and has kind of gone uncontested in the backline. So I think that's another thing you need to consider is how do you disrupt the backline of Valco Beacon, and how do you create yourself an opportunity that way? Because that's kind of the thing that hasn't really happened, Joker. There's not been any disruption to the backline.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this this dive can deal with that. It's going to be incredibly difficult with Chiraro on the Moira and Night Fury on the Baptiste to really get rid of that backline. We'll see how it works out for them here as the dive has already started off as SpongeBob looking for that lone target. They're going to go in here, look to get something, but they're going to stunned immediately and almost get finished down as Aberoth takes down Beast Mode here as SpongeBob's on the point, not really looking for a point, but now there they go, looking to get a pick off as MWM's off the side of the map as Scoot with this Soldier 76 yet again finding so much value.
And that's just kind of been the story here, right? Is that the DPS has gotten value of pretty much everything for the side of Valpo Beacon. They'll have most of their ultimates intact, and MWM again, just going back to the hog. I don't disagree with it, but it's such a shame that we, like they're falling back into this kind of a rush comp. It worked pretty well before. I think you can make it work, but I wonder what value you're going to get out of this Echo at this point. Like, you're not even really close to the duplicate. Maybe you want to give that up as something to kind of fight the ground fight a little more.
Well, the Shatter does connect to MWM, but that Immortality Field is going to keep them up for the time being. But Disagree in the midst of that is going to fall down to a flashbang from Aberoth, as now Valpo are just going to be holding them at bay yet again for the time being.
The other part of this equation right now is that Valpo Beacon has such a damage-centric backline right now. Like, Moira and Baptiste can put out so much damage, but also so much healing. So even if someone falls low, they don't really need to commit any of these. Like, they have all 6 ultimates. They haven't needed to commit any. They've just been able to win fights based on Scoop putting in bullets and the rest of the damage coming through, while also keeping their team up with not a lot of commitment, honestly.
You're going to see here the Coalescence is going to take down Spongy Bob. The Self-Destruct coming out as well, getting rid of the Immortality Field as, well, they're going to get hooked up and demeched, but the damage has already been done. You've already lost someone, and you can't really push in until you get this. Oh, but a nice hook from MWM. It changes everything. The healing of the Moira is now gone, but a massive shatter comes in from Little Flaps again.
Man, what a clutch moment for the side of Valpo Beacon. A minute left. All right, the ults are coming in for WC Slate, though. So you have tools in your pocket. If you're the Echo, you probably copy either... Maybe you copy the Soldier, maybe you copy the Rhine, kind of depending on what you're feeling, but you have options, you have some good opportunities. And, I mean, at 5 ultimates, you can kind of just press Q and win, right? Like, there should, in theory, be a point where you just throw everything at the wall and it keeps you going. So, this is it. We're going to commit the Valkyrie. Let's go. That's the signal. Let's charge. I like this.
Well, here comes, as MWM takes out Aberoth, but as both attack advisors are going to be invested here, but Boo is going to get the better hand for the time being after they get sent off the map by those Diva thrusters. But it's going to be WCU finding this upper hand for the time being.
I mean, that's enough. They didn't commit everything either, so if there's a chance for a regroup, they'll take it. They'll have a couple tank ultimates. They shouldn't need to commit it, though, so it'll be split spawns that maybe you can get a punish or two, but Slate's still in the game here. It's not over yet. They just have to keep this going, but it's been a tough fight to get here, so Ooh going over to the Genji. I do like that. And Disagree falling early. I think it's time to give up that Echo. There's too much in your way now. There's double hit scan in your face. I think you give that up and go to something different.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there, as I do like this Genji pick. We saw a lot of Genji being played in open division and getting a lot of value when played correctly, as we're going to see going forward. We're going to see if the self-destruct coming out here. Coming in, not going to find anything, but it's going to be MWM on that flank, but another shatter coming in from Little Flaps, finding 3 on the ground, and, well, they get 2 picks, looking for more, but Valpo are going to stabilize on the defense.
I'm just not sold, I think, on this Reinhardt at the moment. Everything else about this comp from WCU strikes me as very, like, divey or very play for picks, like a pick comp. So I kind of almost feel like, aside from having the shatter, like maybe you give this up and go to, like, my instinct says like go to ball, but yeah, you could even go to a Sigma, go to something else to like give yourself, because you don't need to take the Rhine fight. You really don't.
That's what I was really thinking about, that Wrecking Ball, but the shatter coming out does connect to 2 people there.
Oh no.
But Spongy Bob is going to go down before they can really connect to the wall to take out Little Flaps, as that could have changed that fight entirely, as now there's already 3 picks into the favor of Valpo, as it's going to be almost impossible for it to flip into the favor of WCU now, as J-Riz going down. The shatter back online for Little Flaps. They're going to connect to Disagree. Not going to get that pick. The self-destruct coming in from the back, as it's going to find 2. They didn't know where it was, so...
No, they were too busy caught. That's cleanup in less than a minute. Disagree has this duplicate. Again, like, what do you pick, though? especially given that if you've been tracking, if you know, or if you're watching, both DPS have ultimates. I don't know who you pick there, and it's so unfortunate because there's nothing you can really pair with MWM. MWM has just kind of been this solo entity who's been trying to deadlift not really well. That's gonna be the Rhine duplicate to kick it off, Joker.
Yeah, and they are gonna be able to. No, they don't even get little flaps.
No.
As Scoot comes out with a tactical visor, finding 3 yet again. As Boo pops that Dragon Blade, but only gets 1 pick. They only get the Apparoth, who wasn't really doing much. As the rest of Valpo just annihilate WCU's chances on Numbani and take a commanding series lead 2-0.
That is a dominant force from the side of Valpo, and you have to be slightly concerned if you're I didn't even say slightly. Let me redact that. You have to be terribly concerned if you're WCU Slate. You can't even get through on your pick. Like, look at that. Little Flaps put in 4 there. The fact that beat out Scoot, who had, I believe, 2 at a minimum. I think it was 2 triple visors, which to me is kind of harder to really get the value off of. That says something. Valpo just has players that can pop. You can see it. There's no one really deadlifting it. Like, everybody's kind of doing their moments where somebody can put in the work, but like, everybody's playing well. Valpo Beacon, everything's just going right for them. And meanwhile, WCU Slate, well, your consolation prize is a map pick, but we're going to escort. And again, I don't know what to tell you here, because this is a rough place to be. Maybe it's time to dig into the bench, make some more changes. Something's got to give here, because we're at the end of day 1 and this is not looking good.
Yeah, this is not where you want to be, as they're going to have a couple of minutes to take some deep breaths, figure out what they want to do, because we're going to head to a short little break. Do not go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss the conclusion of day 1 of NECC Nationals. Welcome back, everyone. It is almost time to go into map number 3, but a quick recap for those if you're just joining us now. Well, we started off on Lijiang Tower, so then, well, it wasn't really that close. They did have some WCU had some good moments on Lijiang Tower, but in the end, Valpo taking that map, and then in the end, then we went to Nambani, and that's when it really came into a disparaging of differentials here.
Yeah, Joker. If I had pick'ems right now, they would be absolutely in shambles. And needless to say, that would be pretty sad for me. But here we go. New map, new half. WCU has picked Havana, and there's still a few more changes to come in here. We've got J Rizzle going to tank, MWM going to DPS, and Disagree going to support. And it's just kind of been, I think that's like the story of WCU Slate here. They've just been trying to find the answer to the problem in front of them. And that problem is, how do we deal with this? And their pick of choice, one Havana, they think that's where they can do it.
But we've seen a very good brawl comp coming in from Valpo,
Yeah.
and the brawl is
I don't know.
meta.
I can't. Yeah.
Brawl is meta for the first 2 points of Havana. You can still run it on point 3, but you're rarely even going to see point 3. It's just with how, if you get to point 3, you're most likely going to see more of a dive or 6-man or something other than rush, because it's so open. But I don't know. I don't
so
understand
hard.
it.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard. And I'm trying to think, like, what are we doing with swaps? This is a flex team in WCU Slate. Most of them can, they claim that they can play most of these positions. So we're moving MWM back to DPS. MWM has looked good. Mm-hmm. Looked good on Hog. On the initial control point, looked good on DPS. Sure. J Rizzle going to tank tells me they're probably bringing in something for a double shield is really, really big here. You might be moving towards like a Sigma Orisa. That kind of is what I think of. We do have a late sub coming in also for the side of Valpo. Orm Corvus is coming in for Fruity Bops. I'm sorry. Flex position, I don't even remember. I honestly, it's hard to remember what exactly. Fruity Bops was playing tank, I believe, yes. So probably coming in for tanks there. Yeah. This signals to me we're looking to double shield comps, which. I mean, it's not, if we're moving to that and not brawl, you stand a chance at WCU Slate. Mm-hmm. If we're just kind of changing and getting subs in time on Valpo Beacon, I still might be concerned if that most of that brawl piece is there, because you didn't change a lot of pieces. You just changed 1 or 2 pieces, and we'll have to see what all these various changes bring out here.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting indeed, as we're going back to anti-dive from WCU Slate here, as Jake Rizzle is going to be opting to go for the main tank now, as Spongy Bob has had enough. They're going over to Diva.
Yeah, that checks. You kind of want this shield. You're expecting to play and support your range a little bit more. That seems fine. Double flex support's a little interesting. We're putting a lot of value on the Baptiste that I don't like. You're gonna stay with the Orisa for the most part, and that's fine. But why the Ana? What do you what is the nano boost necessarily gonna do? You might boost Cassidy. You might boost the Orisa. Like, there's a lot of pieces that just don't totally line up, so I'm assuming this is at least partially into comfort picks too. But meanwhile, on the side of Valpo Beacon, it's double shield. They may or may not keep this Echo, but Scoot, I'm scared for Scoot on this Widowmaker. Never mind. I was right to be scared. They are gone.
Yeah, they're going to get rezzed up immediately. Not going to be opting to swap off of it anytime soon, for at least, as Scoot. Well, you might have been scared for a bit, but they've taken out Disagree early on. That is huge. They are running a double flex support composition here to get as much healing as they possibly can. It is WCU Slate, but it's not working out well for them currently, because, well, they're down 2 people now in this fight, as Aberoth going to be taking out J Rizzle, as it's just beast mode left here. trying to get away.
And he will fall. He's out too. I don't think there's going to be a contest either. This was worst case scenario for WCU. Like, that just kind of fell apart slow enough, and there was no contest of the cart too. So if we're gonna like slow and feed this down, we still need to play objective, right? Like, we can't just let this cart roll the whole time. Otherwise, it's gonna be one fight, and we're moving on to the next point. You said we may not see the that third segment. I think you might be wrong here, Joker. We might see full complete at this rate.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this dominant of a showing so far from Valpo, but going back to the previous maps, you might have thought about it. But yeah, like you said, great nade coming in. Scoop gonna get the pick onto Spongy Boy, as the Critic Flux now gonna come online from Little Flaps to try to get some damage down. Not gonna find any picks on the back of it, but now after that damage is done, they do take out MWM, and the rest of WC Slate are soon to fall with them.
They've just been rolling. There's not been a contest, really, and there's going to be like a last-second touch here, but the tanks are just stuck in there. There's no support for them. They're just going to late stagger, and it's just going to make this even harder to finally put their foot down and really stall this card out, Joker.
Yeah, they're going to try as they will, but J-Riz is going to go down, and it's still 5 minutes and 30 seconds on the board here. It's about, is it 30 seconds more than they came in to on point number 2?
Wow. Flaps is absolutely just punishing everybody. This is so aggressive from this tank line. He did switch to Sigma, right? Like, this isn't just a Reinhardt going deep again.
Yeah, they're just playing very well, and Scoot being set up here. It's going to be like a shooting range day for them here, as is waiting to get that soldier in their cross sights. Spongy Boy's going to turn it back. Okay. They've gotten 2 with self-destruct here, as they did not have that Orisa shield to keep them up, as it's now gonna be Scoot popping this these sites here. Not gonna find anything. They are gonna be found out before can get really any information for the rest of their squad, as they're gonna be able to swap over now because of it. As Valpo looking to do something, but MWM gonna be taking out their Echo player, as it does look like WCU are gonna be able to stabilize for the time being here. So.
Yeah, but Joker, it cost them pretty much everything. Beast Mode's the only one with anything. Boo did manage to build most of another High Moon, but like, it cost them everything to finally put this down, and Valpo still has ultimates on board. Like, they still have ultimates. I don't know that they're going to make it through this next. I want them to, don't get me wrong. But like, 4 minutes on the clock, there's still so much in their way. They have to find a way to make this window very valuable.
As that's going to be a good Gravitic Flux, taking out J-Rizzle, and the D-Mac going to come through onto Spongy Pop. Going to be followed up after that by Scoot taking out the Baby Diva form. Scoot yet again on this on the soldier has just been incredible. The attack visor going to be popped out as well, as this is looking like a very fast completion for the side of Valpo Beacon. They're going to come back here. The Deadeye is going to come out from Boo. They're going to try to get something, but no one is going to go down. The Amp Matrix coming out from WCU to try to keep people back, and they do. They get 2 picks off the back of J-Rizzle to come back, and they're going to be able to stabilize finally on this defense again.
But it cost them everything again, Joker. There's not much left in the tank. There's 2 ultimates coming in for WCU, so if they can get the rest of this damage in, and they will at least find one to stall this out, Corvus will fall there. But if they need these ultimates faster than they can make them work, because there's support ultimates on the other side, and they can just push right back with those.
Yeah, well, they've already came back strong. Getting picks into their favor here is Valpo Beacon, as Eberoth finding out the disagree on that Lucio. The swap, the attack visor from MWM finds one, but that's all they're going to find here. It's just Spongy Bob left, as well as the Sarissa from J-Rizzle, as the Gravitic Flux is going to be used to stop people from coming to the point. They're going to miss the Tracer, but for how much longer are they going to be able to stall is the question, and not much longer is the answer, as Valpo complete the map with 2 minutes and 3 seconds on the board.
Man, that was a dominant showing. Just the cart didn't stop through A and B. It slowed up when they got to C, but it took everything WCU Slate had, and I don't know, Joker. This is a rough time to be. Like you said, rarely do we even see completions like this, let alone with 2 minutes left. Usually you can stall it a bit longer, but they burnt it down quite a bit. It was a 4-minute clock prior, and going, if they can even make it to Brewery, would be a good place to be. And so, like, what's the plan here? What do you have to do? There needs to be pressure on Scoot. Scoot has just been uncontested, just getting full value. There's nothing. There needs to be even if it's just taking the duel. Even if you know you're going to lose, like a distraction and trying to force the duel is something. Even if it's just drawing attention away from the squishier heads of your teammates. There's got to be something. Send a tracer, take the duel, go back to a dive. I don't know, but there's got to be something that pressures out Scoot here, because you're running out of options. And even on the front line, Lil Flaps has just been a dominant force on the Sigma. Corvus came in off the bench, clearly ready to play. That front line is pretty tough, so you got to go around them. You can't just take that in that front line, and they're going to try to run at them, Joker. I don't disagree with that, but I'm not sure about this Ashe right now.
Yeah, well, you're not only running out of options here, you're running out of time. So this could be possibly the final map of the series if they do not turn things around. And I do like the idea of just running into them, but they aren't. They're playing a bit passive with this brush. You don't have a second DPS like a May to follow up on the damage that could come out from your front line that you have. As Night Fury finds out 2 there with the Zen, as that Discord orb is just going to be a brutal for the side of WCU.
I mean, they burnt speed boost to try to get onto them at first, but the disengage was there, and I don't really this is a slow comp. How did they disengage? How did they escape you? You should have just been able to hold W and keep going, and they were waiting there to try to get Disagree's speed amp back. It just didn't show up, and by the time they really did, they were reset up. They were ready to go. You can hear the tracer coming in, MWM. I like that better. I do like that. I really do. I think this is a great way to get around what's in front of you.
Yeah, they're going to speed on into the tank line of Valpo, but they're going to be able to get away, and they're going to get healed up thanks to that Amp Matrix coming in from Chiraro. The Shatter now does connect to 3. That is going to be what you need in the end for WCU, as they're going to be able to get that team kill.
There we go.
And they're going to be able to most likely get to the first point of Havana now.
Yeah, I don't expect a contest here. They'll let this roll. They'll reset up this bunker comp really needs to stay set up. So they'll have both ultimates. They'll have both tank ultimates. They'll have a trance. Trance is probably gonna wait out this Graviton Surge. If they've been counting, they'll know it's coming. But the rest of the ults coming in for WCU Slate, they need to just buy a little bit more of the space, and MLM and NWM needs to go faster. Just needs to get into the back line and keep it going, because Boo is down, and now there's time to clutch.
Well, yeah, and there it is yet again, the Discord orb coming in from Night Fury, just being the menace that it is, as the Deadeye gonna come out from Aberoth, looking to find something here, as they almost get the kill onto J-Rizzle. I don't know how it didn't go through, but the bubble did get in the end, as the Graviton Surge was used from J-Rizzle and does find a pick off the back of it. Now the side of WCU continue to push forward. They've got the numbers into their way, as MWM is going to be in the back line with this Tracer, just harassing the respawns now coming out, as WCU continue to push forward.
Yeah, this is what you needed to do. You needed to create that crossfire. You're doing it with the Tracer. You need to put the pressure on the double shield tank, and you need to create pressure on the Scoot. And Scoot, again, getting punished there early. That's exactly what you need. Spongy boy, not looking so spongy this time around.
Yeah, not at all, as they're going to be able to complete this fairly quickly as well here. So not as much time as Valpo had, but still a very respectable time to get through this. And knowing how Havana third is, you're going to need all of that time you have.
Oh yeah, 100%. They sure will. And the ultimates work in their favor, though. They have 4, so that's at least something they can keep this going. And maybe if they're lucky, they can kind of top out this time and just be ahead of them. That's all you can really ask for. It'll keep you in the game. But let's see what happens with this Death Blossom. This Death Blossom's got to be big. If they can sneak Boo around and get in position, you can come up huge with it. It has to be.
Oh, and it's going to be up to Aberoth to really shut it down with the flashbang. But, I mean, also killing Boo as well is going to help, as the Coalescence now going to be used out. Charge is going to be canceled. It's still anyone's point, but the Shatter is going to be huge, coming in response from Little Flaps, as they're going to come back here, taking out MWM. They need some more picks. They need it quickly. Spongy Boy does take Aram Corvus out of this fight, but it's still looking good for the team in red at the moment. J-Riz having this grab is going to be huge, as Boo not going to have the health to go in and use that Death Blossom. Might be the story that we're talking about, because that could have been a huge play.
Yeah, there was no, like, the setup was just missed, and you were kind of hoping for J-Rizzle to drop the Graviton Surge and Boo to sneak in that, but it just never really got there. So both DPS ultimates there. Some things can come up big. You can maybe get MWM to get the stick on the scoot, and that would be huge. You just need to shut out the counter DPS ults, and you can keep this rolling. And you have to do something, because there's 5 for Beacon. There's 1 to kick it off.
That's a big play, as the Death Blossom's going to come out. No real counter coming through besides just killing Boo there, and they end up doing that. They do pay for it with 1, but in the end, Valpo just come back stronger with a team kill.
Yeah, they didn't even commit the DPS ults. They used everything else around it, but it worked. And I like this Brig adaptation from Night Fury. Like, we just kind of gave up a little bit more damage. We gave up Trance, but we gave up a lot more. We gave up a little extra CC. I think this was the right adaptation, considering MWM has played aggressively, and you can still counter it. But the double Deadeye coming up huge there, that buys more time.
It does indeed, and they're going to definitely have less time than Valpo now, as it is going to be below 2 minutes and 3 seconds soon enough. But they've got the ultimates to come back here, do WCU, so...
Yeah, they do. There's at least Shatter Coalescence coming in for WCU, so they can keep this rolling, but I'm concerned. I would say I'm concerned about that Graviton Surge, and there it is.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the one that you wanted, as Spongy Bob drops the Shatter in response to said Graviton Surge, and they're going to be able to lock them all up, not going to be able to touch, and it looks like they're going to be able to complete the map. 2 map completions on Havana, something unheard of. So.
Okay. Yeah, this is wild. I didn't expect we'd be here. To quote Plankton, and speaking of Spongy, I didn't expect to be here. So here we are. It's going to be a little under, 2 to 1.5. Who can get themselves farther? And that's kind of been the thing about this map for Havana, is most of these fights have been pretty dominantly won. It's kind of just been like one fight, no real contest on cart, move on to the next point. And I think that is going to be the important thing here. We may see the first close spawn hold. I'm actually surprised we didn't see this sooner, was the Supreme frontline hold that's kind of grown popular. I expected a team like Valpo to maybe pull that out. Why wouldn't you? You're right there. But with that in mind, yeah, WCU has no reason to change anything. And considering they have the first attack, they might as well just keep this going. They've found success in finally being able to kind of move as this unit in this brawl comp and be able to take control of it. So if they can keep this going, the boost from Lucio has been crucial for them. But meanwhile, for Valpo Viken, they're going to modify their double shield, and I like that a little bit better. The Torb's an interesting pick too. I do like that. You want to talk about dissuading backline invaders? That's a great way to do it. And so I would be very curious to see how long this Torb stays around.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting indeed. Molten Core is just such a good space-creating ultimate and space-denying ultimate. That it could work out well for them in the end, especially on this defense. They only have to win about 3 or 4 fights to get this in their favor, but
Ooh.
Boo has already just blown up Little Flaps, as this is going to be WCU just winning this fight out off the back of that fun pick.
Hey, I love identifying that strength there and just punishing Little Flaps. We know if we can break the shield and we can overwhelm them. I like that decision. The Torbjorn's still holding in well. Usually there for anti-dive, but I suppose you can do that. I say that, but Boo is absolutely just popping right now.
Yeah, and I was talking about Boo in our intermission, just waiting for them to pop off and get their the value that they needed to just put the team on their back, per se, as they are waiting for the respawns to come through, as it's just the Orisa left for the time being. I don't know if they're going to have a good recontest here, so...
No, I think this recontest was a little too late. Ooh. That Reinhardt charge also dissuading it. Can anybody... They will make it, but it's going to be a rough recontest here.
Yeah, but losing Spongy Bob is going to be huge for the recontest from Valpo Beacon. The scoot does go down to Boo, but the respawns coming through from Valpo are going to be enough. There's 10 seconds remaining. They're going to have Nano, they're going to have Rally, and they're going to probably have this Molten Core as well online.
Yeah, but everybody's just slowly feeding in. They will get the recontest. It's one at a time, Joker. It's basically done at this point.
Yeah, there's trying as they will. They're going to get the Lucio touch again. But for how much longer are they going to stay? Aberoth finally has this Molten Core. They're not going to be able to touch any longer because of it. And, well, there it is. Round 3 is completed. And they've got a very good good win condition set here.
I mean, consider it more of a celebration, quite literally shooting confetti out, I guess, in some ways. But, yeah, there's the win con in sight. And 2 minutes, that's 2 to 3 fights, depending how diligent you are about dying if you die. And I mean, WCU have to take a forward hold here, right? Like, you can't just give up. You can't play the back corner like you instinctually want to, right? Like, you just can't play that. You have to play this forward hold because there's so much time you need to burn out. And considering you have basically until the end of this point, I don't see a world where they don't contest this. If they don't push this sooner and they don't take this forward hold, they're gonna regret it, I think, come the map end.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you here. And, well, they are opting for a couple of characters that would be normally seen in a close hold, but it does not look like they are going to be using it. They're not going to be using the strategy.
That's, oh boy. Okay, I mean, there is a lot of damage out there, like you said, and they can still close the gap really quickly, but again, there's like one target for Aberoth, and that, even if you put the resources into stopping Aberoth, Scoot's still going to do a bunch of damage, so I hope they can keep this pressure on the DPS line, because the DPS line has gotten so much done.
Yeah, they definitely have indeed, and we'll see how it goes forward, as it's going to be up to Boo to keep Aberoth in check for the time being. They're going to be throwing in these rockets from the far end, and a nice boop comes through, disrupting Boop from that high ground, and it's going to be harder to get any real good sightlines on Aberoth now, as they're going to come forward, look to get this damage going through from any of these DPS to open things up here. So
there's nothing though, Joker, and there's the opening pick, and it's not what you want to see.
It's not indeed, and now the thing it's crumbling all around WCU. They've lost all their people. They did take down Little Flaps as well as Aberoth, but there's just so much damage coming out from Valpo. It does not look like they're going to have a touch. It is going to be the Reinhardt, but for how much longer, as they're going to lose MWM to the Deadeye, and that's going to be Valpo Beacon. Take the map, take the series in a 3-0 fashion.
A very dominant 3-0 fashion at that too. You could just kind of tell WCU was just had control of this, and again, Little Flaps just showing up in the play of the game moment. Like, you can't, and this has kind of been something I alluded to earlier. Little Flaps has literally been running this Reinhardt game. You've been struggling. You really can't beat them. Playing them at their game wasn't just going to work here, and it shows just in the final result. You tried to play their game, and you were punished for it. So I'm hoping in the future WCU will find the game they want to play, force everybody else to come to their level, and meet them at it.
Yeah, I definitely think they could. It's just about finding who's more comfortable on specific roles
In
instead
your
of just
roles, yeah.
instead of just having everyone be a flexible player. In the perfect world, everyone is a flex player, but you
Yeah.
want to be able to specialize in things, and that's when you can grow more and as a team and as an individual, as a player. And I think
Yeah.
that if you're going to go forward for this WCU squad, that's the biggest thing. Just specializing in something instead of flexing
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, I mean the roster is plenty big there, and there's still time as we go to day 2, and I mean there will be future NECC events. So, this is going to be some good footage to watch back. I think you'll learn a lot, considering that this is a strong team. This is a team that you will see again likely in some form, and this is going to be like a good gatekeeper for you that you're going to have to pay attention to. So, a dominant game to close out the night, Joker, and I mean, wow, just what a game to be a part of.
Yeah, what a game indeed. But it's over now, and well, we have to say goodbye until tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. It's been me, a Joker's Ransom, and him, Sovdanum, on the cast. Thank you all for watching. Peace out, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Take care.